going to jump into our part 2 of Heart for the House. And as we do, we've been studying the book of Nehemiah. It's one of the greatest books in the Bible on leadership. And Nehemiah, we discovered last week, was a cupbearer to the king Artaxerxes of Persia. And he hears about his homeland, which is in ruins. The walls were down, and his heart began to break. He had a heart for his community. It inspires people to join with him to make a difference and to rebuild the walls, to do what they thought was impossible. And so now here he is saying, man, we can do this. We can make a big difference in rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. Now, God doesn't use Nehemiah, as we discovered last week, because of his skill set. He doesn't use him because of his position. He was a cupbearer. We discovered last week that a cupbearer simply was the person who would drink the whatever was in the cup before the king. The greatest way at that time to assassinate somebody was through poison. So he had a lot of job security, as you could tell. So that was just his deal. He would just drink something, and if he lived, then it was good to drink. And if he died, long live the king, you know what I mean? So that was his way of doing what God had called him to do, but God didn't call him. God didn't use him because he had this great, amazing position. He used him because he had a great passion for his community. He had a heart for the house of God. And one of the ways that you develop a heart for the house is by using your passion. I want to take a moment this morning just to encourage you. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be pushing a little bit. We're going to be leaning a little bit on that idea of utilizing your passion and what has God called you to do, and how can God use your passion to develop a greater heart for the house of God here at North Star. And I always challenge people, if you don't know what your passion is, I don't know what I'm really passionate about, Pastor John. Here's what I would tell you is check your bank statement. That's a great way to indicate what you're passionate about. Like, man, I spend a lot of time at the coffee shop. Either you really love coffee or you just like people. And you don't even like coffee, but you just like getting around people. Well, chances are you might have the gift of hospitality and an addiction to coffee, which is good because we can utilize those two things in our hospitality where we brew coffee. And there's a place for you to use your passion, or maybe you have a heart and a passion for kids or teenagers. And I just encourage you, man, one of our greatest needs, I think always will always be a great need of our church, is kids ministry. So we're looking to gain about 8 new leaders, volunteers, those who would be willing to sign up and say, hey, you know what, I can give once a month to serve in our kids ministry. Let me tell you who's been doing an amazing job is Pastor Elissa downstairs. If you have a kiddo and you bring a kid downstairs, I mean, look how amazing the place looks downstairs. Look at how great she's been doing with their systems and getting everything in order and just kind of dispersing the kids out, giving them more space. All of that is because how amazing our kids pastor is. And I'm telling you, she's doing a wonderful job. Make sure that when you go down there, man, you love on her and you tell her how great she's doing, because she has been blowing it away and amazing. So if you're interested in doing some of those things, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be leaning into that. How do you use your passion to develop a heart for the house? Now, here's what I know before we dive into that part is anytime that you sign up to use your passion, here's what you'll have to understand. If you decide to make a difference for the kingdom of God and use your passion, here's what's going to happen. Right off the bat, discouragement will come. Discouragement will come. Because some of you are like, man, I could do that. And now the first thought that came into your mind was, maybe I couldn't. Maybe I'm not what they're looking for. Maybe it's just not me. Maybe I have, and all of a sudden discouragement begins to kick in. For me, I'm on day 7 of getting healthier. Hello? Can you tell? Come on, just in case you get lost, I know where we're at. Okay, as long as we're in Asia, I know where we're going. Okay? But I've been on day 7, and can I just be honest with you? On day 3, I felt like quitting. Day 3, I felt like giving up. I was discouraged. After day 3, I thought, let's just step on the scale and give it a whirl. I gained weight. 3 days into this thing, and I'm talking about working out, like work it out kind of deal, like people yelling at me. The owner of the gym is like, hey, let's partner up. And I'm like, are you kidding me? She's like super jacked, and it's a chick, and I'm like, whatever. And so like she's kicking the bag, and it's like, wow. And then I kick the bag, and it's like, She kicks it halfway across the room, and it's like, mine's like, and she's like, come on, let's go. And so then I did what only I knew how to do best. I made her laugh. So then when she would kick it, I'd be like, come on, Cindy, kick the bag. And she's like, like that. And it still like went like 3/4 of the way across the room. And my goal was like this. She would be like, this guy, like he's funny, but I don't really get a good workout in, so I just can't work out with him. And I'm like, yes, stay on your side of the room, Cindy. Stop messing with me. But man, I felt discouraged. I mean, I was sore. I didn't feel like going to the gym. I didn't feel like working out. And so discouragement sets in. And here's what I want you to know. When you do something significant, whether for yourself or for the kingdom of God, the enemy will always bring discouragement.